Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Gotham episode 8 video, probably one of the best episodes in a long time for several different characters. There's a bunch of other huge stuff that happened this morning, so I'm going to do news at the end of this. So here we go. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen this episode of Gotham yet. Starting with top 5 WTF. The Penguin meets the Riddler. This is going to be so much fun. Both of the characters have embraced their craziness. The Riddler seems a little more well-adjusted than the Penguin just because the Penguin is frothing at the mouth to kill Theo. But them running into each other is straight out of a grim fairy tale. Who is afraid of the big bad Penguin? Somebody stole my sandwich, and there's just a trail of blood leading away. Also, can we just talk about how awesome the set decoration is? Just like, look at the car that the Riddler is driving in the costume that he's wearing. That actually reminds me of something the Scarecrow wore during Batman the Animated Series. But someone actually asked me, like, what's going to happen now that the Riddler is meeting the Penguin? I mean, obviously they're going to work together, but my joke answer was many fanfics are going to happen. I'd really like for it to turn into this Hannibal situation, but that's not necessarily the relationship that Will and Hannibal shared during that series. Even if you don't know what that means, make sure to check out Hannibal at some point. They've already canceled the series. There's only 3 seasons, but it is awesome. On to number 4 though, speaking of Hannibal, they have to do something with those 2 bodies, like they still have to finish burying the bodies. When the Riddler turned around and noticed that his sandwich was gone, he seemed so preoccupied by the idea that he just walked off following that trail. So the hunter's body and Miss Kringle's are still lying in that open grave. They have to fix that. Now because when the Penguin came stumbling out, it looked like he was on the edge of death, they're probably going to address that first. Like, the Riddler will probably patch him up. He has rudimentary medical skills. But I feel like there's a lot of potential in that pairing. Like, I feel like that's going to make for some really awesome TV, some really awesome scenes together. Because the Penguin is just completely over the edge. He's a totally dark character. And the Riddler just accepted his dark self. I was a man with 2 selves at war with each other. You helped me fix that, Miss Kringle. Thank you. More crazy. On to number 3. Bruce is tempted to sign away Wayne Enterprises to Theo to find out who killed his mother. I feel like we're all thinking the same thing. Theo probably either did it himself or hired the person to do it. The question is who actually pulled the trigger? In most tellings of the Batman origin story, it ends up being Joe Chill. So Theo probably hired Joe Chill. I do like how they dodged the reveal. I feel like it would have been kind of disingenuous for Bruce to find out who killed his parents when he was really young. Part of what drives Batman is the rage over not knowing what happened. Even after he becomes Batman, for a little while he still doesn't know. It's all fuel for the Batman fire. But I do like that they didn't go Dark Knight Rises route, where the company just goes to complete shit and Bruce has to get it back. He's way too young for that storyline, and that's not really an interesting storyline for a child actor. Bruce's storylines tend to be a little more interesting when they're tied up with Catwoman storylines, so hopefully they'll dive down this Silver St. Cloud rabbit hole with Catwoman. Bruce versus Theo is interesting, but Bruce versus Silver I think is going to be a little bit more fun. On to number 2 though, Barbara and Gordon try to out-crazy each other. This is so much fun. Just the early part in the police station where Gordon seems like he's completely drunk the Kool-Aid. I have feelings for you too. Like for a minute, I was actually fairly surprised. Like, what's going on here? Until the reveal. Let's just play along so we can find out what's going on with Theo. But then Barbara pulls a fast one when they get to the place where she wants to go. So it's Gordon seeing her crazy, trying to one-up her, and then her just completely one-upping him trying to one-up her. Crazy on top of crazy on top of crazy. Now obviously Barbara isn't the Joker character, but most of you may have gotten a Michael Keaton Batman vibe when they went to the cathedral. The end of the first Michael Keaton Batman film where they chase each other like all the way up to the top of the bell tower. In this case it was wedding bells, but you get the idea. Like thematically they're just trying to invoke a lot of that imagery. Whether you love or hate the Barbara character, I feel like these were some of the best scenes that she's been in all season. They have it out to their logical conclusion, and Barbara seemingly commits suicide. She lets go and just falls into the abyss of the bushes below. I don't feel like she was trying to escape. I felt like she was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm out, peace. But finally, onto my number 1 WTF moment. Barbara is not dead, she's not gone. She just broke herself with that fall, and she broke Lee and Gordon's relationship. When Lee was like, hey, after this is all over, we need to talk. The talk is going to be, we need to break up. Lee is a total trooper putting up with all this stuff, but she immediately recognizes that Gordon is just as crazy as Barbara, in a different direction. Gordon is crazy like Batman is crazy. You see a fire, you see a disaster, you have to run to it. Like Batman is every bit as psychologically damaged as most of the criminals that he goes after. It's just like when you talk about alcoholics, there are alcoholics and then there are functional alcoholics. Like he's able to make it work for him. Gordon is able to make his crazy work for his profession. So you're just not quite as able to recognize it, like when it's covered in a cape and cowl. But make no mistake, we are not going to see Gordon in any kind of therapy. But I am interested to see if Hugo Strange steps in, just because he is such a psychological character. He might start working with Barbara, and they have cast Hugo Strange for the show. He is coming on. They haven't said which episode he's going to debut in, but like we have Victor Freeze is coming on the show. There's a couple more big Batman villains coming along. So you guys can let me know, like, what was your favorite part of this episode? And do you feel like this, of all of Barbara's episodes, do you feel like this is the best? I feel like even if you hate her character, this was actually a good episode for her character. But that's just the beginning. There's so much other stuff that happened today. So here's like a breakdown of the stuff that I'm going to be working on next. So we have The Flash Season 2 tonight. That's entered Zoom. We're going to get a whole lot of Zoom. So I'm going to do that video next. There's a new Jessica Jones trailer. I'm going to do a video for that after I do my Flash video. Obviously, there's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I'll do that too. But we also found out that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is supposed to be Negan on The Walking Dead. No big deal. Just see how many F-bombs you can drop in the span of a minute. Be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff, and I will be posting updates on like when videos are coming on Facebook and Twitter. The links for that are at the bottom of the description. I'm actually really excited. I always love when I wake up and there's like 5 videos that I need to make that I didn't realize I needed to make the night before. It just means there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. So while you guys wait for everything, you can click here for the Flash trailer for the episode that's coming tonight, and you can click here for last night's Game of Thrones White Walker video that I posted. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.